New Zealand was an island free of land mammals before us pesky humans arrived. In turn, this means a few unusual species of animals and birds evolved that are endemic to New Zealand. When talking about the birds of New Zealand, most of us would be thinking of kiwis, but there are so many more amazing birds that are native to this country. Here, let's take a look at 10 of the amazing birds that can be found in New Zealand. Number 10. With a wide distribution in the archipelago, ranging from subtropical Kermadec Islands to the subantarctic Auckland Islands, as well as the main islands, the tui is one of the largest species in the diverse Australasian honeyeater family. At first glance, the bird appears completely black except for a small tuft of white feathers at its neck and a small white wing patch, causing it to resemble a parson in clerical attire. On closer inspection, it can be seen that tui have brown feathers on the back and flanks, a multicolored iridescent sheen that varies with the angle from which the light strikes them, and a dusting of small white shafted feathers on the back and sides of the neck that produce a lacy collar. Male tui can be extremely aggressive, chasing all other birds from their territory with loud flapping and sounds akin to rude human speech. Number 9. The kereru, or New Zealand pigeon, is the only pigeon endemic to the New Zealand mainland. A large conspicuous pigeon with distinctive noisy wing beats, it is the only remaining New Zealand bird capable of swallowing large fruit, and so is an important seed disperser for native trees. Kereru were a significant food source for Maori and one of the 2 foods harvested at the new year. Although widespread in both forest and urban habitats, their numbers have declined significantly since European colonization and the arrival of rats and possums, and hunting them is now illegal. The kereru also plays a part in Maori mythology and lore, and has associations with the hero and trickster Maui. In one such tradition, Maui took the form of a kereru when he went down into the underworld in search of his parents. When Maui transformed into the kereru, he was carrying the apron and belt of his mother, Taranga. The apron, titaro or taranga, is represented by the white breast feathers, while the belt, titautua a taranga, is signified by the green-blue feathers on the neck of the kereru. Number 8. Endemic to the islands of New Zealand, the tomtit was once thought to have been descended from the scarlet robin, although more recent research has questioned this. It seems likely that there were 2 colonization events, with the North Island robin and the South Island robin descended from one event, and the black robin and tomtit from another. The island subspecies of tomtits show a striking variation in body size, being considerably larger than their mainland relatives, a tendency known as the Foster's Rule or the island effect, where the size of a species depends on the resources available in the environment. Birds from the main islands weigh around 11 grams, compared with birds from Snares Island, which weigh in at 20 grams. The tomtit is mostly an insectivore, feeding on small invertebrates, but fruit is taken during the winter and autumn. Number 7. Also known as the New Zealand wrens, the Rifleman resembles a wren in form, but is not related to the family of true wrens. It is New Zealand's smallest endemic bird, with fully grown adults reaching around 7 to 9 centimeters, 2.8 to 3.5 inches in length. The Rifleman has a range of simple high-pitched calls, the most commonly used call being a squeaky and repetitive zipped. At least part of the calls of the Rifleman falls in the ultrasonic range of frequencies, although it is unknown what function this serves, or even if Riflemen are able to hear sounds at these frequencies. Number 6. Found in the forested and alpine regions of the South Island of New Zealand, the kea is the world's only alpine parrot. Now uncommon, the kea was once killed for bounty due to concerns by the sheep farming community that it attacked livestock, especially sheep. In 1986, it received full protection under the Wildlife Act. The kea's notorious urge to explore and manipulate makes this bird both a pest for residents and an attraction for tourists. Called the Clown of the Mountains, it will investigate backpacks, books, skis, snowboards, and even cars, often causing damage or flying off with smaller items. Kia have been kept as pets before being protected, but rarely, since they were difficult to capture and destructive when in captivity. Number 5. The kakapo, also called owl parrot, is a species of large, flightless, nocturnal, ground-dwelling parrot. Its anatomy typifies the tendency of bird evolution on oceanic islands, with few predators and abundant food, a generally robust physique at the expense of flight abilities, resulting in reduced wing muscles and a diminished keel on the sternum. The beak of the kakapo is adapted for grinding food finely. For this reason, the kakapo has a very small gizzard compared to other birds of their size. Like many other New Zealand bird species, the kakapo was historically important to Maori, appearing in many of their traditional legends and folklore. However, it was also heavily hunted and used as a resource by Maori, both for its meat as a food source and for its feathers, which were used to make highly valued pieces of clothing. Kakapo were also occasionally kept as pets. Number 4. The New Zealand bellbird, also known by its Maori names Korimako and Makomako, forms a significant component of the famed New Zealand dawn chorus of birdsong that was much noted by early European settlers. The explorer Captain Cook wrote of its song, "It seemed to be like small bells most exquisitely tuned." This bird is found throughout both the main islands of New Zealand, apart from the north of the North Island. Its population and distribution has been seriously affected by the introduction of European-style farming, which has led to the removal of native forests. Another important factor is the introduction of predatory species that either eat the birds or consume eggs, while food robbers compete with the bellbird for its natural food sources of nectar, honeydew, and insects. The decline occurred around the same time as that of many other New Zealand species, but for unknown reasons was reversed, and the species is still common across much of New Zealand. Number 3. Previously widespread, Kakaako populations throughout New Zealand have been decimated by the predations of mammalian invasive species, and their range has contracted significantly. In the past, this bird was called the New Zealand crow. However, it is not a crow at all, but it looks like one from a distance. This bird has a beautiful, clear, organ-like song that can carry for kilometers. The kakaako does not fly so much as glide, and when seen exhibiting this behavior, they will generally scramble up tall trees before gliding to others nearby. Maori myth refers to the kakaako in several stories. In one notable story, a kakaako gave Maui water as he fought the sun by filling its plump wattles with water and offering it to Maui to quench his thirst. Maui rewarded Kakaako for its kindness by stretching its legs until they were lean, long, and strong, so that Kakaako could easily leap through the forest to find food. Number 2. The Takahe, also known as the South Island Takahe, or Notornis, was first encountered by Europeans in 1847, where only 4 specimens were collected in the 19th century. After the final bird was captured in 1898 and no more were to be found, the species was presumed extinct. 50 years later, however, after a carefully planned search, Takahe were dramatically rediscovered in 1948. The Takahe is a sedentary and flightless bird, currently found in alpine grasslands habitats. It is territorial and remains in the grassland until the arrival of snow, when it descends to the forest or scrub. Recently, human intervention has been required to maintain the breeding success of the Takahe, which is relatively low in the wild compared to other less threatened species. One of the original long-term goals was to establish a self-sustaining population of well over 500 Takahe. As of 2019, the estimated population was around 418. Number 1. The New Zealand Fantail is a small insectivorous bird, the only species of fantail in New Zealand. The species has been considered by many to be conspecific as the grey fantail of Australia and New Caledonia. However, due to significant differences in its calls, many authorities now treat it as a separate species. During waking hours, the bird is almost never still. It flits from perch to perch, sometimes on the ground but mostly on the twigs of a tree or any other convenient object, looking out for flying insects. The birds are not shy and will often flit within a few meters of people, especially in forested areas and suburban gardens. In doing so, it is able to catch any small flying insects that may have been disturbed by human activities, such as walking or digging. In Maori mythology, the New Zealand Fantail is a messenger, bringing death or news of death from the gods to the people. The bulbous eyes and erratic flying behavior of the bird is attributed to it being squeezed by Maui for not revealing the whereabouts of his ancestress Mahuika, the fire deity.